Time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Well, folks, he's been singing for 23 years. Now, how old do you think he is? Man, maybe 50, 45. How about 28 years old? My guest today is Jeff Radford, folks. Now, listen, you're going to pay special attention to the show because this guy's going places. You're going to see this guy. He's going to have a Grammy. He's going to be around, and he's going to say, I got all my start from the Sam Lesante Show. Jeff, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks so much for having me, Mr. Lesante.
It's a pleasure. You can call me Sam.
Okay.
It's a pleasure having you on the show, and I'll tell you why it's a pleasure, because, you know, I'm a musician. I played, I was telling you, with a priest here, Father Joseph Ferrara, started me on flutophone.
Yeah.
And when I was maybe in 3rd grade or 4th grade and went up through the ranks, played trumpet, French horn, etc. And I saw at the time the value of music, what music is. And it's something that I think everyone should experience. But I mentioned here you've been singing 23 years. Let's talk about you, okay? Young people today doing what they're doing, it's exciting if they're doing it right, okay? And I understand you're a wholesome individual, and I'm glad to hear that. A little bit about your family, okay? Because there's a history here of why you started.
Well, I think the biggest reason, you know, I always had the gift. I realized, you know, I actually never thought anything of it. I always, you know, I could sing since I was little, about 5 years old, and knew it was there, and, you know, kind of grew up. But I grew up in a very small town, you know, kind of reminds you of Hazleton, Pennsylvania, where we're at right now. And, you know, and growing up, music wasn't a big deal there. So
where did you grow up?
About an hour and a half south of St. Louis, Missouri.
And what's the name of the town?
Well, it's kind of funny. I spent most of my time in a town called Deloge, but my mother was a high school English teacher, and we would commute about an hour every day back and forth to a very even smaller town called Annapolis, Missouri. And my graduating class there would have been about 30 people. So it was pretty tiny, and you know, the real thing to do there, like a lot of small schools with sports, you played basketball. If you were anything, you played basketball. So that's what I did. I played basketball, and my mom ended up getting, you know, very sick, I guess around the time I was 13 years old. And in about 2 years' time, she left us and passed on Memorial Day of 2000. And when that happened, I had to switch schools. And in switching schools, I found choir, which was kind of brand new to me. And I said, this is cool.
But you had been, how old was that when you said
that? Was probably about, well, when I switched, I would have been 15 or 16.
But you said you were singing when you were 5.
Yeah, I mean, I would do little shows at the school that I went to, but I never thought anything of it. You know, I never took it seriously. I just thought, oh, you know.
Plays and stuff.
Yeah, plays, exactly. Yeah. Plays and productions. And anytime they needed somebody to sing, I was kind of the guy they called on, and I just said, okay, you know, and just did it. But never, you know, put a lot of thought behind it and just said, oh, okay, you know, I just kind of went along with the motions, so.
So you went through the plays, and then you said your mom got sick.
Yeah.
She passed on, and so you were about 16 years old.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any brothers and sisters?
I do. I have a sister that is on my mother's side, and I have 2 brothers that are on my father's side. And my father lives in around Williamsburg, Virginia. He was a Navy boy, so mom and dad, you know, split when I was 2, and mom went back to Missouri, and dad stayed out here. So, you know, brothers and sisters on both sides. So I've got family kind of everywhere. So,
all right, so 16 years old, your mom passes, which is unfortunate. So what do you do now?
So I switched schools, and I got involved with choir. And, you know, my sophomore year, I did okay. My junior year, I auditioned for the all-district choir and made that. And then I auditioned also, I was fortunate enough to be able to audition for what's called the all-state choir, which is the equivalent of, for those who don't know, you know, all-state football player or baseball or track or whatever. And I made the all-state Missouri choir as a 16-year-old junior in high school. And, you know, even then it didn't mean a whole lot, but my choir teacher who I was close to at the time, she sat me aside and she said, Jeff, she said, you've got something here. She said, you know, young men, you know, who are 16 years old, they don't make the leap that you've made and you know, go to all-state as a 16-year-old junior in high school. She said, you have a gift. And you should really, you know, pursue that gift and use it.
So, the interesting thing is when you said you have a gift. Now, did you ever have any voice lessons?
From that point on,
From that, okay.
Yeah.
So up to that point.
Up to that point,
you
no,
just had a
no.
natural voice
It
that
was
you were
just
singing.
natural, yeah.
Okay. And so she was able to tell you that you had a gift at that
Yeah.
age. Okay.
Yes, she was.
So okay, she tells you have a gift. You make all-state tenor.
Yeah.
Okay, which is an achievement in itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you enjoy what you were doing? Did you?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You had.
It was great.
It's a
It was
stupid
great.
question because you have to have the passion for it. There's no question about it. All right. So she tells you that you have this gift. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of just basically music were you singing at the time?
For that, I mean, singing in church, and for that it was, singing in choir. So anything from, gosh.
Okay, the general genre,
The
whatever
general genre,
of the high
any
school.
choral music that's, you could be singing Latin, German, Italian one day, and then the next day you could be singing, under the boardwalk.
Did you do? Yeah, right. Did you do any solos in church?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did solos in church. I did solos in choir. I always did a solo for our concerts. I was fortunate enough to be able to do those. So yeah, lots of solo work all the time.
So all right. So now she tells you have a talent, and you. So what goes through your mind now?
Honestly,
Yeah.
it went through, something in my mind clicked, and I told myself, and whether it's true or not, to this day I believe it. I said, maybe this is what is in store for you. This is what God wants you to do with your life. You're supposed to sing. You have a gift, and you're supposed to take that gift and use it to, in the end, give back to other people. And maybe that's why your mom's not here, because I was very close to my mother. I mean, she was literally the pillar of my life, from the day I was born until I was 16, I mean, very much so. And, that's kind of, I guess, how I reasoned everything and rationalized why she wasn't there. So. Okay,
so as a high school student,
Yeah.
and going through what you were going through, Jeff, okay, being a singer and being involved in that, now, I don't know I guess different towns have different unique situations, but it's a challenge today for high school students because they're faced with so much that we never were faced with when we were in high school, okay? How were you able to not succumb, but how were you able to face the trials of the kids, whether it was dope or whether it was going the right way or the wrong way? Because I do believe that God does give you a talent, and I do believe that that things in life happen for reasons, okay? And I think you're a prime example of that, where, your mom's passing, God could have been saying, all right, Jeff, we need you to do this, okay? And I think you believe that. Right?
Yeah.
So how were you able to keep the straight and narrow?
Well, I think that first and foremost, I was very fortunate in the fact that I had a very strong and great upbringing. I mean, my mama, she raised me right, and it was never a question of, oh, are you going to go to college, or no questions. It was, you're not going to be doing drugs. You are going to go to school. You're going to get your degree. You are going to do this. You're going to come home with straight A's. And
seems she was a churchgoer too. Huh?
Yeah. So that was kind of that's how it was. There was no question about it, and I think that I was fortunate to have that. And I understand it's tough, like you say, that kids, man, there's a lot of things that they're dealing with, and it's even changed.
How are we able to avoid that? What lesson do you give to the high school kids that are there today? They're coming and seeing you in concert, and they're impressed with your singing, and certainly you have an influence. How are you able to do that?
I think you have to have, you got to believe in yourself. I mean, I think that's what's really important. You have to believe, in the values that you accept, and you can't fall into the pitfalls of, what everyone else is doing, because I was at those parties. At that time, when I was in high school, I wouldn't even have an alcoholic beverage with anyone, just because I didn't want to, and it wasn't how I was raised. And people would have a drink, and you just got to say no. And I know that it's something that it's so funny. It's so simple to say no, but then it's so difficult, because you want to, be with your friends, and you want to hang out with them, and you want to make them happy, but you just have to accept who you are and stick to your guns, and not be afraid to deviate from everyone else and the normalcy that's out there, because that's how you stand apart and, go further, in my mind.
And so the guidelines that your mom placed, they work, right? And hopefully, as you begin to expand and grow, and I'm sure you will be, based on what I have learned about you, that you'll be able to get that message across to the many troubled young
Definitely.
people that are out there today. And you know what? They're troubled not because they want to. They're troubled because of society, what it does for them, okay? When your mom died, okay, you then began to think about different things, okay, because it says, from what I understand, is that your passion then grew even more so for music. Folks, I'm talking to Jeff Radford, okay, the album, CD, is called Taken, and if you'd like to get this, you go to his website, which is jeffradford.com, and you'll be more than pleased to hear this particular album, and he puts his heart and soul into it. We'll be back right after this message. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show, folks. Remember, 24/7 on SSPTV.com. You can watch every one of our shows. Go to YouTube, and also thank you so much for making our local news here in the Comcast and also SSP TV your #1 selection. I appreciate that very much. My guest today, recording artist Jeff Radford. Recently, he just opened up for Bill Bedley, who was appearing up here in the Wilsey Center in Hazleton. He started singing when he was 3, 4, 5 years old. Began a serious passion for it when his mom passed. And you also, well, we'll talk about Miles Davis in a minute. But getting back to then, your mom died. You made state. You were selected for all-state choir in Missouri at the age of 16. All right, and now. What happens? Okay, how do you go that step further?
The next step is, kind of finding me, and, finding my voice and learning who I was and, just listening, doing a lot of listening. And, when Mom passed, I then, got even closer with her mom, my grandmother. And, I can remember we would listen to Nat King Cole and Frank Sinatra. And, I think my first ever real CD was an Elvis Presley CD. So really, I'm singing pop music, but at the same time, I was raised on standards, the real kings, the legends of music. So, I started listening to that and took that, and then also with the music that I was listening to, at the time, a Brian McKnight or a Justin Timberlake or someone like that. And I said, that's really cool what they're doing. And from there, I took all of that and started performing and started taking lessons and honing my craft and, making myself better as I moved along. It was always, what can I do to get better? And that's, I live my life like that every day, is what am I not doing today that I can do tomorrow and do better,
You said something here that I wrote down here. You said, the real kings of music. And creating and what made them all great is because they had their own style.
Yes.
And they developed their own style other than mimicking, okay? There's a lot of imitators today. So that puts, Jeff Radford in the situation, okay? Doing the album, how do you then begin to develop your own style?
I guess this is speaking to, anyone who does music, plays, sings, you're going to listen to other people because it's natural, you're just going to. So you're always going to be influenced by other people. But at the end of the day, we're all individuals and we all have our own voices, whether with an instrument or vocally, in our own style. And the key to that is just finding it and, opening. That's what I kind of coined a term, was opening the box. And it's almost as if you have a box and inside of it is actually who you are. And you just got to open the box and you got to let all of that out. And it's like you say, you can't mimic or imitate other people because you're never going to get too far if you're doing that because it's already been done.
As you know, music is so powerful in many, many ways, okay? If you just imagine watching any movie or watching any drama without music, it's just, people talking. Once you add the music, okay, then the emotions become. So music can make you happy, can make you sad, you could change all the different things. What when you're going out performing, okay, like you performed, many times, what are you looking for the audience to, what do you want from that audience? What do you want them to get from your music?
I want them to, well, first of all, I think we're all way too busy in this life. We've got the smartphones, the laptops, and the tablets, and you can't breathe. So the first thing that I want from them at any performance is I want them to escape. I want them to escape, reality, whatever they're going through. If it's, bad times, I don't want them to be troubled with that. I want them to escape and just actually feel the music. And enjoy the time that they're spending with me, and just take it all in. And hopefully, whenever I'm playing, you know, I touch a part of them. And, you know, even though sometimes you're going to play sad songs or something like that that, you know, might hurt, you know, I hope they identify it, and it reminds them of, you know, a good memory.
Well, and that's important, okay? Not necessarily a sad song, but you know, memories are fabulous things, and you know, sometimes that's all people have in their lives are their memories, okay? Yeah. And you know, if you have good memories, you're making them, which is great. And so when you're singing or you're writing your own song, okay? Yeah. So when you're writing your songs, where do you get the creativity from? What inspires you to write your songs? You know,
it just differs. You know, some of the tracks and some of the songs that I've written are from my own personal experience and things that I've lived through. And then sometimes it's in conversations with friends or family and, you know, listening to their problems. And, you know, I try to take a step back and kind of look outside the box and put myself in their shoes and try to understand, you know, their feelings and, you know, what they're going through. And, you know, maybe, you know, write a song, for example, track 2 on there, it's called Gin, and it's for a friend of mine, and she was just very distraught with some things that was happening in her life. She wasn't happy where she was, and the whole point of the song was, you know, I know that you're not happy or, you know, life's hard, but sometimes you just got to keep pushing to follow, you know, your dreams. Whatever your dream is, you know, if you want to be famous, go be famous. If you want to, you know, be a mom and have 3 kids and cook dinner every night for your husband and your family, do that. You know, you have to aspire to what you want to do and be in this world. You know, not what everyone else wants, and you can't give up. You can't, because life's too short.
Every great artist, every great writer, performer, all have individual needs or talents. And sometimes they get involved in many ways. Some become introverts. Mm-hmm. I've dealt with many actors in my life, and you'll be amazed at some of the people that are so flamboyant but are so quiet or they have inhibitions that you can't believe. Okay, in your writing and developing music, and music touches everyone's lives, I think it's very important, extremely important to keep music in the curriculums, because it develops so much in the individual person, like it did with you, a passion. When you're writing, you know, and getting involved, any emotions get involved? I mean, is it something that, you know, when your mom passed, did you write a song for her?
You know what? It's funny. I haven't done it yet, and I don't think I've found the words or the melody to do that justice. And I'm sure that it will come at some point. You know, I've spoken with someone who kind of had a similar thing with their father, and she's a writer too. And you know, she said it took her a long time to put into words and song, you know, those emotions. And it's coming. I just haven't gotten there yet. So when it comes, I hope I do it right and do her justice. You know, and you know what she deserves. So.
In writing these songs, you say you wrote a song for Jen, which is, you know, and then you have Take Back My Heart, okay? And what inspired you to write that?
Take Back My Heart was...
some girl ditched you or what?
Well, yes,
Not
I did.
You, Jen.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been ditched plenty of times, I can assure you. That's funny. No, Take Back My Heart was funny because we were in the studio and we were sitting there. We couldn't figure out what kind of song. We needed a song for the first song of the album. We didn't have it yet. And, you know, we said, all right, well, we need to sit down and write this song. So we're trying to figure it out. And, you know, my buddy, he was playing guitar. And I said, I like that. So then it just, you know, had some teeth to it. You know, it had some feeling. And I said, let's write this song, you know, called Take Back My Heart. And essentially it was, you know, it's about, you know, being ditched, literally, you know, someone leaving you. And it's like, I know what's going on, you know, but you know what? I don't know why you did it. I know you're messing with me, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna take back my heart because I don't need this, you know.
See, and there's a message there.
Yeah,
okay?
oh, definitely.
There's a message there. Okay. Now the album's called Taken.
Yeah.
How do you get the title?
Taken is actually the title track. It is, I want to say it's track 9 or something like that. And when I left St. Louis to move to Tennessee and work on this project, I guess I was in the middle of writing the song Taken. And it's kind of one of those stepping outside the box and seeing someone else's emotion. And a good friend of mine, he was telling me about this girl who had left him. And Sam, he was head over heels about this girl. I mean, he just couldn't let her go. And all I could think about was, man, to be quote unquote taken by someone so much that, you know, that's all you think about, and it consumes everything you do. And you know, I was thinking about, you know, the first time they met and laid eyes on each other, and just that emotion that was there, that feeling, you know, that's kind of where Taken came from, and thus the, you know, title of the album.
Folks, the album is called Taken. Jeff Radford. When we come back, we're going to talk about he was influenced by Miles Davis. You know, he has a lot of musical talent. And where is he going after, where's he going now? We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Sam Lesante Show. My guest is Jeff Radford, recording artist, folks. The album is called Taken. Radford.com. That's jeffradford.com. He's my guest. You said Miles Davis was highly influenced. Why?
Well, you know, I think Miles helped me just kind of escape everything. We were talking before how everything's so fast-paced and everything, and man, whenever my brain doesn't shut off, and I can assure you it very seldom shuts off, I just have to turn on some Miles and relax, and it really calms me, and it puts me in a great place, you know, to become creative and write and, you know, rehearse, and puts me in that mode. So, you know, Miles and the way he plays trumpet, I'm sure you've listened to some Miles. So.
Oh yeah,
you know, just the way he plays, you know, I haven't been into Coltrane as much as Miles, but yeah, that guy just, you know, makes things great.
Well, you said something in the beginning of the show,
yeah,
which is so important about your substance and how your mother made sure that you went to church, you had the values, et cetera, et cetera. And today it's very difficult to get good role models. All right, and I'm hoping, Jeff, that, you know, in your future that you will be a good role model for a lot of young people out there and inspire them in music in the right way, and send the message, because really we need a lot more of Jeff Radfords out there, because you see for yourself. There's a lot of great musicians, okay? Yeah. It's the few that do the drugs and do all the things that are not the proper things, that send the message to these kids, and some of them ruin their lives, okay? So I'm hoping that would be your direction. Your thoughts on that?
Definitely. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of, you know, my manager and I were kind of talking about, you know, where we can go with that. And, you know, we're in the works of, you know, putting together kind of a charity and an organization called No Ordinary Girl to kind of, you know, be that role model and be there for, you know, young girls who are, you know, being bullied in school or going through, you know, those, you know, there's drugs there, you know, and who persevere. And, you know, lifting those people who are, like you say, role model. I mean, I'm Jeff Radford, I'm just an artist, but, you know, everybody's a role model. You know, when you go out on the street and you do something good for someone else, that's a role model when someone else can see it, and, you know, they can. So, you know, I just challenge everyone to, you know, love each other and treat each other how they want to be treated, you know.
So how do you see your future, Jeff Radford?
It's bright. Mm-hmm. It's bright. It's as bright as these lights. So, you know, I've set some goals for myself, you know. We're hoping we're going to win a Grammy someday. You know, I think
you will.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, that's the plan, and, you know, have my own international headlining tour. You know, that's hopefully on the horizon, and to be on Sesame Street. Because when you make it on Sesame Street and you're sitting with Kermit the Frog, you've done something right. So, you know, that's the main goals, and, you know, there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to achieve them.
I think you have a great attitude, okay, and I see a lot of success for you. I really do. I think you're a great person. And I'm hoping and praying that you will be able to achieve what you want to achieve and be able to send a lot of messages. And your mom will be very proud of you, okay? And when you do write that song for your mom, it's going to be a #1 seller. I guarantee you that. Folks, I'm talking to Jeff Radford. He is a musician, a talented artist, and he's going places, folks. The album is Taken. You can get it on his website, and go to his website. It's Radford, Jeff Radford, RADFORD.com. You can learn a lot about Jeff. It's an interesting thing, and it's also a good message, folks, for young people about being role models. These are the kind of people we like to see in entertainment today. I'm Sam Lesante. We'll see you next time.